Welcome, 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 everybody. I'm Selena Rezvani, and you're joining Women and Work Culture. This is a live stream all about those positive habits and practices for boosting women's leadership at your organization. I am so excited today to be talking about a really hot topic and one that I don't think gets enough airplay. And our guest today is not only a top executive, but a living, breathing ally himself. So excited to welcome you, Chris Kowalewski. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Selena. My pleasure. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, we're so excited to hear from you today, and a big welcome to our community too, who's here with us. Tell us where you're joining from. Already I see Emily from Atlanta, Anissa, Tampa Bay, Sarah in Richmond, Michelle in Ambler, Akanshka from Providence, and Valerie from Boston. Love it. Love it. Welcome, everybody. Chris, we're talking about a juicy subject today. Mm-hmm. You have a super impressive background, so you have to let me fluff your pillows a little bit and tell people about your great background. Chris, everybody, is Chief Growth Officer for Compass Group North America. He's responsible for really driving the sales organization forward. If you don't know Compass Group, it's one of the largest employers in the world, focuses on food service and support services. Chris has been part of that industry for 32 years, progressing from account executive to sales management, most recently to Chief Growth Officer in 2015. I think it's so important all of you know, hi Brian, hi Beth, hi Michael, Karina, that Chris came to us, he came to our attention, not from a PR person or a pitch, no. Chris came to our attention thanks to women who actually had worked for him, who called him out as a true talent developer, as a real ally to aspiring women leaders. So I don't know about you. I think that says a lot. We're excited, for your perspective, Chris, and to all of you joining us. Hi, Jay and Argyle, Lindsay and Charlotte. Send us your questions for Chris as we go, whether it's about supporting women's leadership, creating that kind of ally culture, and we're going to try to get to your questions. Hi, Lisa from Jersey Shore. So to set the table, I want to throw out kind of how most people might know the male ally definition. And then, Chris, I want you to tell us your take. But,
Sure.
But a male ally is really somebody who sees either privilege or inequality and actively engages and supports women. That's how most of the definitions kind of read. But Chris, what does it mean to you? What does this role of male ally mean to you?
Well, Selena, I think it's important. It's important to be an ally, but I think it's also, it's fairly easy to treat people well. You don't have to overthink it. I've never had to overthink how to create opportunities and how to help people. And I think it's, people matter and relationships matter and optimism matters. And I think if you keep those items as your foundation in your thought process, for me, it's been fairly simple, and it's just trying to be your authentic self and not manufacture anything.
I love it. So this is kind of like a broader view you have on managing relationships at work. Is it safe to say it extends from sales into people management? Is it that broad?
I believe it's all about people management. I think it's all about the people. It's all, you hear a lot about emotional intelligence and emotional quotient, and certainly that there's a lot there to play, but it's all in how you treat people. And when we talk a lot about when when others hear your name, what's the reaction do you want? Do you want them to smile, or do you want them running the other direction?
Right.
But people remember how you treat them. People remember the impact that you have on their lives.
They really do. And I think kind of no time more than now. I think we're
absolutely.
all paying attention to how we're treated, that impression a person left on us, right? Their ability to be human. Chris, one of the things you're known for in your social media, behaviors is shouting people out, shouting women out on your team, really putting a spotlight on some of the contributions of women at Compass. And I'm curious, what gets you fired up to do that specifically?
Well, the team, my colleagues are really, really important to me. And we always, we talk about how we want the organization certainly to be successful in the present, but also I think true success, Selena, is to keep it and make it sustainable for the next 10, 20, 30 years out. I won't, 30 years, probably I won't be part of the organization then. But I have a lot of colleagues that will be, and that are in their 20s and 30s that have a 20, 30, 40-year runway. And it's really important to me that they have the opportunity to enjoy, all the success that I've enjoyed and all the good fortune that I've been privileged to, candidly. And that's really my focus, my goal. If we're successful in that case, if we can keep our team intact for the next 10, 20, 30 years, they'll carry that forward. And that's the true mark of success.
That's so inspiring. And I think a lot of us, get so busy in the everyday of life, right? Like I've heard it called pinball syndrome, where you're just pinging from, action to action, right? You're so busy. And it sounds like you're taking this long range view. You're not getting stuck in the right now.
We're trying to minimize distractions, because there's a lot of them. I mean, especially, if you go back in the last 5 to 10 years and the augment of social media, and again, it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong, it's a really good thing, but that everything is instant today.
Yeah.
It's instant news and instant answers and everything's right there in front of you 24/7. And I do believe there's times you just gotta kind of calm the noise down a little bit, make things easy, make it simple, be there for one another, look after one another. And, this is all stuff you have to want to do, Selena. You got to want to do it. It's hard work, but you got to want to do it. And I think if you're all in, it's fairly straightforward.
I love that. I think it's a great prompt for all of us listening, and all of you out there from Charlotte to Portugal, which we see today.
We have folks from Charlotte listening in?
We do. We do. They snuck in there. But it's a great prompt for all of us. In order for each of us to be an ally to others and show up for people, what is that kind of bigger mission for you? It sounds like for you, Chris, it's really thinking long term. It's thinking about how you can model something that can continue long after you're at Compass. What is that for all of you? It's a great prompt, to figure out what's important. You have a great comment here from Genevieve, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Chris is absolutely one of the most inspiring leaders out there. I'm blessed to work with him and the culture he's created on our sales team. He has always been one of my biggest supporters in leadership development. Wow. How awesome.
Very kind. Yeah, very kind.
And I want to pivot a little bit to a little bit of a stickier, trickier piece of this topic, which is since the kind of Me Too era, right? research tells us that there's more apprehension from some men. One figure says 27% of men now avoid one-to-ones with women for fear of, being misunderstood or, their intentions being mistaken, right? So I'm just going to stay out of the fray. And of course, that's unfortunate. My question to you is, for somebody who's hesitating, maybe for a similar reason, to show up and be that ally to a rising woman leader, what's your advice to them? What would you say to them, since you're clearly not holding back?
Yeah, it starts on two things come top of mind. First off, I think in everything you have to suspend judgment. It's really hard to do. But now more than ever, we have to work really hard to suspend judgment, right? I think just have that ability to step back, really look at what's going on around us, what's truly important, and what's the best path forward. And then secondly, Selena, just do the right thing. It's not that hard. Just do the right thing. And it's when you were describing kind of the hesitation for one-on-ones and potentially not being an ally, it saddens me to hear that. It concerns me to hear that, because it really, if you're your authentic self and you just make the attempt to do the right things and take the truth head on, life's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. And I've seen how kind of people operate with those opposite mindsets.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the truth head on, you never have to worry about what story you told last, right?
Right.
And
yep.
And if you just try to do the right thing, I mean, people will see your intentions, good or not so good. And if your intentions are good, and you truly care about people and their best interest, then a lot of great things are going to happen as a result of that. But you have to be authentic in all your dealings.
I love it. You're getting lots of clapping hands, hearts, and thumbs up about the simplicity and the beauty of do the right thing.
It's hard for me to think any other way. I try not to be that complex of an individual, and I've always tried to surround myself with really good people. And I think at Compass, we have really, really good people, terrific people that care about one another, and I try to do the same thing in my personal life. And it just makes things so much easier.
It's so interesting because, I think a lot of people are thinking of this as, hey, if I'm going to become known as this great ally, it's more things. It's learning more skills. And I think your take is really refreshing. It's actually simple. It's actually simple things. It's keeping your word, right? It's showing kind, your intentions.
Yeah. Be kind, be gracious, be humble. Again, that's probably another good path forward, is just be kind and be gracious and be humble. And it works.
Well, it clearly it does, because you have quite a fan club joining this live show today. There's a great question that comes from Anissa, and she's asking, how you set that tone from day one, that welcoming tone. And she wants to know, do you have any kind of traditions for newcomers who join your team? Any things you like to do to bring people into the fold?
Well, yeah, so prior to the pandemic, always had dinners for all the new hires. They would always come to visit Charlotte. We would do kind of their glimpse to orientation and training. And then one night we always had dinner at my home together. But there was always that intimacy of a meal together, some great food, some great wine, never hurts. And I think when you have groups of 10, 12, 14 individuals, and virtually everybody on my team has partaken in those dinners. It's just a great dynamic when you get to know people on a personal level. And then certainly as I traveled around, earlier we were talking about our road show. We did 16 cities last year over 6 weeks. But anytime I would travel around, I'd always take the time to have dinners with my teammates and include their loved ones. And again, you just get to know people on a different level. And when you're trying to create and build and sustain a high performing organization, I think that's important. And that's how you're gonna have people stay and stay with you for 10, 20, 30 years. It's not because you're gonna pay them more. I mean, it helps, but it's not always about the money. It's not always about the latest training. It's how you treat them at the end of the day.
What a great way to welcome people and to kind of reduce that feeling. Most people have probably had a job in their life where they kind of felt they had to put their work face on when they started work, and then they have their real self at home. And you're creating this feeling where you don't have to do that, right? You can be one cohesive person.
Exactly, Celine. And I meet a lot of my colleagues prior to them joining the organization. Is there kind of, we're having discussions about them joining the company. I tend to be involved on the front end of that. And every individual that I come into contact with, I share with them my view on the outset. If we agree to agree and we join forces, certainly I want you here for the next 10, 20, 30 years. If for some reason, in 6, 12 months, 18 months, it doesn't work out, we've wasted time, money, resources. It'll probably take us 6 months to fill the position, right? It takes time. More importantly, we've turned your life upside down. I don't like turning people's lives upside down. So they've earned the right to get all their questions answered. They've earned the right to do their due diligence to make sure this is the right place for them and where they want to be. And again, more importantly, I don't want to turn people's lives upside down. That's serious stuff. And you have to take it serious. And when people understand that, when they understand that you get it, that's pretty powerful. And so it literally goes, both ways. And it's really important. It's just how you treat individuals is really, really important. And we take that very seriously.
I love it. Career choices are life choices, right? Like it's made.
They really are. And it impacts everything you do personally. Your career impacts, your family and everything you do personally. And, I want them to be happy. I don't want people to be miserable or fearful or, every day with a lot of concern. I want them to be happy. And so if they're going to come here, I want you, I know I'm going to get your best if you're happy. I'm going to get your best if you're excited. I'm going to get your best if you believe you're being treated really, really well. That's all you can ask for.
That's awesome. I want to ask you about something else, which is, you talked a little bit about LinkedIn as one example of amplifying women and being that ally. I see allies kind of as a signal boost, right? They do put a megaphone up to your voice or your contributions. Are there other things you like to do to build that visibility for somebody who's coming up? I know people have done this for me, and it's been career changing.
Well, as my friends will tell you and colleagues will tell you, LinkedIn is the only thing I'm any good at social media wise. I'm incompetent at virtually everything else when it comes to social media, so I don't participate. But in regards to opportunities and amplifying and building folks up, there's a number of things we do. Years ago, we created an emerging leaders group to where anybody that had the aspirations to go into a leadership role could be a part of that group and kind of learn some of the tactical nuances to those roles, but also, again, the stuff like you wouldn't read about or learn about. And a lot of it is around how you treat people and the impact you have on their lives. We would spend a lot of time on those subjects talking about it and opening their eyes to that. And for some folks, it was like, yeah, I want to do this. And for other folks, I'm okay doing the role I am. And there's no wrong answer. As long as you're here for a long time and you're happy and you're doing well, all the answers are right. So that's one instance. And we always share the leadership kind of voices and roles. I mean, I don't need to be at the forefront on everything. So a lot of times I like being in the background. I like, where I can just watch and help and support. So we tend to prop, all of our kind of up and comers and high flyers, high performers, get them in roles where they can get a bit uncomfortable. That saying, right. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. We like to do that, push some folks out of their comfort zone, but we give them, it's so they're not going to crash land. We give them a parachute, we'll help them. And it's okay to get knocked around a little bit, but it's all in a good way. It's all in a respectful way to where they can learn and grow and build their brands and their expertise.
That's so awesome. And so many people really loving your comments there. I love this idea of giving them a parachute, knowing they could fall, knowing it may not be a perfect outcome, right? But the learning's more important than, in some cases, this exact prescribed outcome. And that's so meaningful that you're propping people up, you're pushing people to the foreground while you sometimes, go to the background. I think we can all take a page from that.
Yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. I make a bunch of them every day, and I get a lot of help and a lot of support. And I know some folks are just afraid of being wrong and making mistakes. It's okay. There's times you just got to say to yourself, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And in a lot of those cases, worst case isn't that bad, especially nowadays. It's amazing. And but yeah, I want people to fail a little bit and learn. I think that's okay.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of a life-changing thing you can do for somebody. It's not just career changing. In my own case, I had a male ally who was a mentor to me, who really put his own clout on the line for me many times, spoke to clients about me with full confidence, right? And put me on bigger stages than I felt comfortable with. And it means so much. It starts to change the way you see yourself, all because that person put you in the foreground and they went back here to the background.
Well, and it is huge, Selena. And I think in any one person's career, you have to have a number of really good sponsors, really good mentors, sponsors, allies that they're just going to have a belief in you and in what you do, and take that little extra step to help. I know I've had it. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've had a number of folks that have believed in me and given me the opportunities, and then you just got to go make the most of it.
Sidebar to all of us to go write a thank you note to that person who gave you confidence, right? Because it's not a small thing. It's not a small thing. So I think that's something we can all do today, honestly. I want to talk about something else, Chris, which does tend to impact women, at least research tells us. And it's that we know women get some of the quote unquote more low glamour work, sometimes called office housework. And I'm talking about things like taking the meeting minutes, or like scheduling the meeting, right? It's necessary, it's vital for the organization, but it's not necessarily going to buy you a promotion. It's not going to help your visibility. For a woman who's looking to kind of skillfully say no to that kind of work, what advice do you have?
Say no. I mean, just say no. I mean, I think you have to go for what's going to make you happy, and you shouldn't settle. That's my view. I think I just believe no one should settle, and you should go for what's going to make you happy and in what you believe is going to put you in the best possible position for success. That and what success is important to you. What's that mean, right? Because it's different to all of us, and ultimately, it's just what's gonna fulfill your career aspirations, your personal aspirations, and how you feel you're going to be happy. But I said earlier, take the truth head on. Say no. I think that's okay.
Well, and it's how could somebody kind of get to a leadership role without being somewhat selective, right? And without having said no to some things.
Yeah, I think we've all had. We all, as you progress in life and in your career, you're going to have numbers of opportunities put in front of you, most of which you may feel compelled to take, but you probably shouldn't. And I think it's just having the wherewithal to say no. I mean, you may wind up moving to a city that you're not going to be happy in. You may be taking on tasks that you're not going to be happy with. And it's not worth, it's just not worth being unhappy. It's not worth walking away feeling unfulfilled. So I think it's okay to say no. And I certainly don't view folks differently if they do that. I think it's a sign of courage and a sign of strength, not weakness.
All right, hear that, everybody? You're hearing from a leader, right? In the flesh, it's okay to say no. And Lindsay is underscoring that, saying no is a complete sentence. Retweet that. I love that. Yeah. That is so true.
That's great.
And I know something I have to tell myself often is kind of don't mix up urgent with important. Just because it feels urgent, just because you're replying to that email before you can even think, deeply about it, it doesn't mean it's important, and people are going to serve you up urgent issues forever. And I know that's a distinction I need to make over and over.
It goes back to that. We're in a world of instantaneous, answers and data. And you're right, you can't mix the two, importancy with urgency. Sometimes there is a difference.
I love it. Well, we're getting lots of support here. The wherewithal to say no is real talk, says Rodney. He's appreciating that. One last question for you, Chris. For that supportive male who would like to be an ally to up and coming women, how can they go from kind of belief to action? What's a first step they could take in your mind?
Well, the first step is just the people that you have around you, colleagues that you have around you. If we're speaking purely in the professional world sense, take a look at your organization, take a look at the folks that are around you, and how can you help them? Make the first move, offer to help, offer to be the sponsor, offer to help them achieve goals that maybe they haven't been able to achieve yet for a variety of reasons. So to me, that's the best place to start. It's the easiest place to start, and from there it evolves. But you gotta want to do it. That's the key. And if you want to do it, it's easy to find opportunities. There's a lot of people seeking help that want help, that want to do better, just go look for it. It's right there.
I love it. Make the first move. That's going to stay with me, right? Don't wait for that person you see in your organization who has promise to kind of approach you and say, hey, would you help? Would you guide? Go to them. Go to them.
You never know what's going on in somebody's life. So it's always good to just go to them and open up that dialogue. And it's amazing what can happen, and it's amazing the impact that you can have on people's lives and careers and futures.
This is awesome. Well, you're clearly setting the example, Chris, and this has been so informative and interesting to hear about your journey and your philosophy. I know a lot of great things are ahead for you. I really do want to say, though, it's one thing to talk about pulling people up around you, and it's another thing to do it. So thank you for the work you're doing to lift people up, including women, and help them reach that next level. It's really exciting. For any of you who'd like to read even more about Chris's philosophy, he has such great articles up on LinkedIn with some of his golden nuggets and best tips. One of his most recent is 10 things we can all do now, regardless of our title. And you'll see that in the show notes, along with some other links. If you're not following Chris, you should be. So follow him here on LinkedIn. Like he said, he's active here. I hope you'll stay in touch with me too. You can follow me here on LinkedIn. Check out my LinkedIn learning courses on building your confidence chops and leadership skills. Sign up for my newsletter if you haven't already, and stay in touch via Twitter too. I want to thank you, Chris. Thank you to our wonderful community who joined us today. For all of us here, step up and be that ally for somebody. Step up and be that ally for somebody else. I hope all of you stay healthy, stay well, and lead on. Thanks so much.